Things are really heating up for Donald Trump, and honestly, it's a whirlwind trying to keep track of it all. The MAGA team, once a close knit group, is starting to show some serious divisions. Take Nancy Mace from South Carolina. She's made a surprising announcement that could really shake things up for both Trump and Mike Johnson. What seems to be fueling this shift are some pretty dismal polling numbers for Trump.
The new Gallup poll out today is terrible news for the president, just absolutely terrible. His approval rating right now is minus 24. The president is 24 points underwater in his approval rating. 36% of the country approves of him, 60% disapproves. Just absolutely stunning, not even 1 year in. And on the issues, it's even worse. It's worse just because it's so relentlessly bad for him. No ray of light anywhere here. Do you approve of President Trump on the issue of crime? No, by a 9-point margin. Do you approve of President Trump on the issue of foreign affairs? No, by a 15-point margin. Do you approve of Trump on trade? No, by a 19-point margin. Do you approve of Trump on immigration, right? He really wants you to love him on the issue of immigration. No, the American people do not approve of his handling of immigration. And what's the margin? The margin is 25 points. The American people disapprove of his handling of immigration more than they approve of it by 25 percentage points. Turns out all those propaganda videos of you being mean to immigrants aren't working.
It's hard to picture a worse outlook for the GOP, which is saying a lot given Trump's history. This situation isn't just a personal issue for Trump. It's casting a shadow over all the MAGA Republicans who are gearing up for what looks like a tough time in the upcoming midterms. They are starting to realize that aiming for Trump's approval or fretting about primary challenges might be in vain. He's not even participating in the primaries where he could face hurdles, and his hold on the party is loosening. On top of that, he hasn't been treating his allies as well as he used to, leaving Nancy Mace in a bit of a pickle.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
Both Greene and Mace find themselves at a crossroads, wrestling with the internal struggles that many MAGA supporters, particularly women, are facing right now. It's intriguing to see the frustration boiling over among some Congresswomen, especially regarding the treatment of women in such a male-dominated scene. It's pretty interesting how some women in politics seem to overlook the bigger issues around them. Take Nancy Mace, for instance. She's been pretty open about her frustrations with the House GOP and the treatment of women under House Speaker Mike Johnson's leadership. Recently, the New York Times shared that she's even thinking about stepping down early because of how things are going. Mace is planning to chat with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene next week, who's also decided to resign come January, echoing some of the same concerns about the direction of the MAGA movement. Now, while Mace is in the race for governor, her unpredictable choices have ruffled feathers among some of her old pals in the party. Even with those strained ties, more folks in the GOP seem to be resonating with her frustrations as tensions grow. Republicans are grappling with their internal squabbles, and with the Democrats doing well in special elections, Johnson's hold on leadership is looking shakier. There's quite the buzz about his leadership style, with whispers suggesting he may not finish out his full term. Republican women in particular are speaking up against how Johnson is managing things. When it comes to Mace's views on how women are treated in Congress, she does acknowledge the systemic hurdles, but it's almost as if she's missing the wider picture. Her perspective doesn't seem to fully grasp that the challenges extend beyond just her own party. This kind of disconnect highlights some contradictions within the MAGA movement, which claims to be tough on crime while attracting scrutiny for some of its actions and policies. Switching gears a little, there's definitely been a buzz around the elites who have been trying to keep the Epstein files under wraps. However, it looks like the pressure is really mounting now, and they're losing their grip on keeping that information hidden. The House Oversight Committee is getting ready to make some significant moves to deliver justice to the survivors, but it's not going to be a smooth ride for Mike Johnson. Recently, over 150 never-before-seen images and videos from Jeffrey Epstein's private island were shared, adding another layer to this complicated situation. Even with all this new material like emails and various documents, some key figures, such as Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, seem to be moving at a snail's pace. There's a real concern that they might not meet the deadline of December 19th for disclosing all pertinent information, and honestly, it's easy to foresee more delays cropping up along the way. It's hard to shake the feeling that all the files won't be released in time, since they could easily do it if they wanted to. You can really sense the urgency here. If those files were available, justice for the survivors could be just around the corner. A subpoena has been in place for months now, and despite bipartisan efforts pushing for transparency, progress has been incredibly slow. Looking back at how things have unfolded, it seems pretty clear that this cover-up is sticking around for a while. What's also glaringly obvious is the public involvement in this mess. Take Donald Trump, for example. He's treating the Epstein saga like it's just another conspiracy theory. Pam Bondi claims she's doing her best to follow the law, while James Comey seems to be attempting to present himself as a good faith actor, but he really hasn't done much to advocate for the release of additional files or gather new information. Now, a couple of banks worked with Jeffrey Epstein, but it appears that only 2 have been hit with subpoenas by Comer. JP Morgan is slowly releasing some details, but this just opens up a whole new set of questions about how genuine any transparency moves really are. If House Republicans were truly interested in shedding light on this matter and obtaining justice, they'd issue subpoenas to more than 20 financial institutions that have come up in discussions with survivors. There's a detailed list of various financial organizations that need to cough up their records. Sure, it's a step in the right direction to subpoena J.P. Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank, but there's still heaps of information that's missing. For real transparency, the inquiry ought to be much broader. Additionally, there are more individuals who should be brought in for questioning before the committee. A big question that keeps hanging out there is why Maxwell hasn't been called to testify yet. Comer really seems to have dropped the ball on ensuring she actually appears. It seems like the Republicans really get moving only when there's a big uproar from the public. Looking at what Donald Trump has to say about things, he likes to remind everyone that the Epstein files are already out there. He often points to a bill he signed and some posts on social media as reasons for everyone to just move on. But really, it's essential for people to keep discussing, sharing information, and raising awareness on podcasts and social platforms. We've got to uncover what's being hidden regarding Trump and Pamby. The truth is, Trump hasn't revealed any significant information to the public, which makes you think about his promises of transparency from his campaign. Now that he's settled into the White House, it feels like he's pulling back on those commitments, and that's pretty disappointing for his supporters. He has the ability to release the files anytime he wants, yet he's holding back, which definitely raises some suspicions about his motives. Then there's this whole investigation into what could be lurking in those files that haven't been released. Thanks to the Oversight Committee, a lot of documents, videos, and photos have started to surface. Recently, some new footage and images from Jeffrey Epstein's island have reignited this conversation. When those images first made their debut, they really left an impression. One scene that sticks with me shows a creepy room that resembles a dentist's office, with masks just hanging on the wall, definitely a chilling sight. There's also this odd chair that looks like it could be used for procedures, alongside a phone displaying contact numbers, and that blackboard in the living room, paired with images from the bedrooms, raises some serious red flags about what went down behind those closed doors. It's heartbreaking to realize that young girls, some as young as 13 or 14, suffered horrifying abuse in those very rooms. That harsh truth makes everything even more disturbing. We're dedicated to being transparent, and any documents, photos, or videos that come our way will be shared with the public, allowing everyone to draw their own conclusions. Protecting the survivors is our utmost priority, and will ensure the victims' identities remain confidential. There's a tiny spark of hope that some Republicans might step up and be more transparent, especially concerning the Epstein files. It's quite fascinating to see how there's been some buzz about more Republicans possibly jumping on board to support the bill that demands the release of those files. This movement is all part of a growing push for accountability and transparency, especially with everything that has been happening lately. Now, when it comes to loyalty toward Donald Trump, there seems to be some division among Republicans. While there are certainly his loyal supporters who will stand by him through thick and thin, an increasing number of Republicans are starting to express their concerns about the Epstein files. They're asking themselves why Trump hasn't called for these documents to be released, and some are even beginning to step back from him. It's definitely noticeable that the political landscape is changing, especially as some who once supported a discharge petition are now easing away from his influence. On one hand, there's hope for a bolder strategy around transparency, but it's interesting to note that even as some Republicans advocate for these issues, they might still be in favor of slashing important health and welfare programs. That adds another layer of complexity, showing bravery on one front, yet hesitating to support wider social needs. And on a fun note, the annual Spotify Wrapped release has brought a bit of laughter into the situation, turning the spotlight toward favorite artists. Responses have been pretty much what you'd expect, creating a lighthearted atmosphere and reminding us of those shared cultural experiences even amid all the serious political chatter going on.